So I've just done something that I said I would never do, and that is to sell one of my properties. So I'm going to fully explain the reasons why, and I'll also go through the figures and also try to justify my decision. It's not one that I've made lightly. However, I do feel it is the right decision, so stick with me, because if you've got a property portfolio, or maybe you own a couple of houses, or maybe you're thinking of getting into buy-to-let, then hopefully this video will help, and hopefully it will resonate with your situation, or maybe what you're thinking, especially with the increase in interest rates and other things going on. So selling a property at this time may be the right thing for you, maybe it's not. So let's crack on with the video. If you're new here, I'm Jason and I invest in property, and I also make a load of videos teaching people how to get into property, how to build a portfolio. If you're not following me on Instagram, please go and check me out at J9Property. Also, there's a link in the description if you want to download a free property course. It'll show you how to build a buy-to-let portfolio. Now, I've always said, especially on this channel, never ever sell a property, never sell an asset. So what have I just gone and done? I've gone and sold one of my properties. Now, I have thought long and hard about this, and there were 3 reasons which led me to this decision, which I'm going to talk about now. Now, I'm a big advocate of holding on to assets, keeping property for the long run, and that's certainly not changed. My thought process has not changed, and my strategy is to still keep buying property, to keep investing over the long run. Now, a few things have happened recently which have swerved my decision, so to say, into selling this property. This is the second buy-to-let property that I ever purchased. Now, the first reason that has led me to sell it is because this buy-to-let property was in my personal name. Now, you might be thinking, well, what's the problem with that? Buying houses in your personal name is nothing new. No, it's not. But when you start acquiring properties and building your portfolio, you'll soon come to realise that holding buy-to-let properties in your own name is something you don't want to do. It's a bit of a pain. For tax purposes, for other purposes, it's just not as viable as if you set them up in a limited company. So if you haven't watched many of my videos, the first 3 properties which I purchased were in my personal name. All other properties from that point on were in my limited company. So the first reason is, because this property is in my personal name, I am willing to offload it. I am willing to offload properties in my personal name and carry on acquiring them in my limited company. So this is the first reason that sort of pushed me into thinking, is it a good time to sell? Should I sell and take the equity? And that brings me on to the second point. This property has a lot of equity. Now, I purchased this property just under 4 years ago for £90,000. I've now just sold it for 120 or 118,000, I think I accepted. So that's a big chunk of money. Also, during that time, the property has made me £15,000 in pure profit from the rentals. And as it stands, this house has £50,000 of equity sitting there. So that's another reason why I am willing to sell this property. It has appreciated a lot in value. It has earned me a lot of money in rent. And this brings me on to the third thing, which, again, all the lines up. The tenant that was in the property has now moved out. He's gone and bought his own house, which is fair enough. Therefore, the property is currently empty. Had the tenant not moved out, I wouldn't have sold the house. I was happy to keep the tenant on. However, things change, people move. And by the tenant moving out, this has just added another reason. So that's 3 reasons so far. I think I said at the start there'd be 3 reasons. There's probably 4 or 5 to be honest. Another reason is the mortgage fixed rate is coming to an end in a few months' time, which means I would have to remortgage it at a higher rate. Now, this higher rate is likely to be around 6%. Could even be higher if the Bank of England increases rates even more. And another reason, and this is probably one that was the biggest factor, is probably one that you can resonate with the most, is my personal residential mortgage on this house, which I live in, also is coming up for renewal at the end of next year, or maybe slightly into 2025. So because of the increased rate rise, I'm sort of planning ahead. I'm trying to reduce my liabilities as much as possible. Now, a mortgage on your residential house is a liability. It's not good debt. So with the interest rates going up, I want to reduce that debt as much as possible. Now, I have a lot of equity sitting in the buy-to-let property, which I'm about to sell. So what I'm going to be doing is, all of the equity that I take from that property, from the sale, I'm going to put it into my residential house to reduce the mortgage. So if you're looking for a logical reason behind this, when I come to remortgage my house, The interest rate is going to go up. It's inevitable, rates have already gone up, which means my monthly payments are going to be higher. Now this also applies to the buy-to-let, which also was coming up for renewal next year. Now I think I was making around £350 pure profit per month on the rental. Now with a higher interest rate, that amount would drop to around £200 per month. By me taking out the £50,000 equity by selling the house and putting that and paying off my residential mortgage, that will actually save me over £200 per month. So if you look at it this way, I've reduced my debt on my residential mortgage without actually affecting my cash flow, because the money I would have made from a buy-to-let, the £200 per month, that has now come off my residential mortgage payments per month, and I also don't have worry or hassles of the house being empty or the tenants not paying their rent, etc, etc. Now, I understand that this won't apply to everybody and that some people on here will be saying I should keep hold of the house, it's an asset, I should wait for the capital appreciation over the years, and yes, you are absolutely right. However, as I mentioned at the start, because this house is in my personal name, I've come to the point where I don't really want houses in my personal name for tax reasons, for income, or other reasons. So I was happy to offload this property, I was happy to sell this property. I've never done it before. Probably won't do it again because, as you know, I like to acquire assets and I like to keep assets. And I will still be growing my portfolio, but I will be growing it under my company name only, not in my personal name. So I hope this makes sense. It'd be really good to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I know that next year is going to be a really good opportunity for people to buy property. I'm certainly going to be looking at increasing my portfolio. There's going to be some really good deals out there. There's going to be some bargains. If you're thinking of building a buy-to-let portfolio in 2023, please go to the description and there's a link there where you can download my free property course. There's lots of great information, lots of valuable information, and it's all free. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed the quick video, and I'll catch you soon.